Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of ARCHAEOASTRONOMY from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information. So as we say, salamta to each and everyone, of course, in the name of Kadamawe Haile Selassie, the power and might of the Holy Trinity, Negus Nagas, the Madani Alem, which is the Savior of the world. Give thanks, of course, Asante Sana, for the presence of each and every one. A wonderful evening, the Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. Of course, this is another edition of Radio Anu's Tiger's Nest, program that comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Talking about the international flavor, this is the universal spice. And as always, we have some flavor and some spices set aside for you this evening. Again, it's my honor to be in your presence, your humble servant and your humble host for this sailing out. And I'm very thankful for each and every one that partook of our open house session a few days ago. I'm talking about the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Education is the key. What a beautiful session we had. All of you who were there with us on the Zoom, we give thanks. And let me say as well, for those of you who would have missed it, we would have uploaded that session to our YouTube channel. So you could just visit us on YouTube, Priest Isaac YouTube channel, and you will definitely see the fullness of that presentation. And again, let me remind each and everyone that is within my voice, we are asking you to subscribe to the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge YouTube site. Now, not just Priest Isaac's YouTube site, of which most of you would have already subscribed. I'm talking about another YouTube station, platform. I'm talking about the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. So you would understand that we definitely have both ends covered, and any foul play goes down, you could find us on the other YouTube site. How does that sound? Very good. So I'm very thankful again for everyone who was there with us, those who would have already enrolled in our Ancient Astronomy course. Give thanks, and let me just remind everyone. Now, of course, on that day, a few days ago when we had the official launch, remember that the course was going for only $100. Now, remember, the course itself, for those who do not know, the course has a value of $275. It is a 5 weeks course. And of course, you know that, well, those of you who were there, you would have already seen the quality, the standard of the Ancient Astronomy course. And again, if you missed it, you could just visit our YouTube station, our YouTube page, and you could watch the whole presentation. It's only about 2 hours, and it was so exciting. What an exciting day. Remember, we began with the short documentary film, Anu, the Ancient City. And then we went into the relaunch of the newly updated and revised international homeschool program. That presentation was done by the Honorable Empress Naya. And then I myself came and did the lecture, The Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy, and I presented to the family, a better comprehension of what is there in store for you when you enroll in the Ancient Astronomy course. And of course, again, on that day, we had a special offer, only $100. So give thanks for those who took the initiative to be with us and said, hey, I'm here. I'm going to order that course right away. And of course, they are definitely happy for their decision. And then we still have a special available for you until the 21st of May. Listen to me good. Until the 21st of May. That is when the first classes will be sent out. So you have until the 21st of May where you could register, enroll in this Ancient Astronomy course for only $195. Remember, the cost of the course is $275. But until the 21st of May, which is the day, it's a Sunday, by the way, when we will be definitely sending out the first classes on that day. If you enroll before that day, you get it for only $195. But of course, you can definitely enroll after the 21st of May. You can enroll forever. But at that time, after the 21st of May, it's going to go back to its actual price, which is still only, any which way you turn it, it's still only $275. So if you desire the $195 offer, then make sure you enroll today. And of course, the $100 offer would have already passed. So definitely give thanks. And of course, the Ancient Astronomy program sponsors the Tiger's Nest, specifically at this moment here. So we definitely giving our sponsor a good time so you understand what it's all about. So you know how to contact us. Of course, you're listening to the radio station, so you are already on the website. and which is priestisaacinstitute.com website, priestisaacinstitute.com. And of course, you could just enroll, you could sign up right there on the website. Beautiful. Now, the 5th of May, this year, 2023, you know, we observed a beautiful lunar eclipse. At least some people observed it. An eclipse, lunar or solar, is not really something everyone will see because of wherever the moon or the sun is in relation to the side of the earth that is observing this eclipse. Very good. So there was an eclipse on the 5th of May, somewhere between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. But it was a lunar eclipse, so it took place in the night, basically on another part of the globe. But really now, those of us who observed the beautiful full moon on Friday evening, which is the night of the 5th of May, those of us who observed that beautiful full moon, we were observing a full moon that was just coming off of an eclipse. I want you to get this good, you know. So those of you who observed or saw the moon on Friday evening, wow, what a beautiful moon. That was a moon that was rising over the eastern horizon, freshly bathing or coming off of an eclipse bath. So it would have been rising with a certain level of power there, because you got to keep in mind that an eclipse only takes place during the time of a full moon or a new moon. You get it? So you have the solar eclipse. That is when the moon is passing between sun and earth. New moon. Got to be the new moon. And you have these lunar eclipse. That is when the earth is passing between, you know, the sun and the said moon. And you get that effect. Very good. So we were observing, those of you who saw it, a lunar eclipse. Very good. Now, the 5th of May is a very interesting day. Cinco de Mayo. But it is the Ethiopian Liberation Day. The 5th of May is very significant to me personally. I think anyone that is associated with our lessons know that the 5th of May is our day. Rastafari, I mean, we as a movement, we do not acknowledge the 5th of May enough for the value of the 5th of May. That's not even a minor holiday or minor holy day or minor celebration. Yeah, we don't even pay attention to the 5th of May. Nothing going on for the 5th of May. That is Ethiopians' Liberation Day. The 25th of May is African Liberation Day. Now, nowadays, they want to call it Africa Day. They always try to, you know what I mean, water down the stuff, you know, throw some milk in the coffee. So African History Month is Black History Month, and they kind of make it look like, well, we're not really talking about Africa alone. We're talking about black people down here in Guyana. Yeah, we're talking about African history. And now African Liberation Day is now Africa Day. You know, twist of words, play with the mind, believe me. But Ethiopian Liberation Day is the 5th of May. And the importance of Ethiopian Liberation Day, this is the day when, Ethiopia regained or was liberated from the fascist aggressor officially. Remember, it was the 5th of May, 5 years prior to 1941. It was the 5th of May, 1936, when Haile Selassie I left Ethiopia on his way to Geneva, Switzerland. He wasn't on his way to England. Let's not mix up the story. The king did not leave Ethiopia to go to England. The king did not leave Ethiopia to spend 5 years or 3.5 years in London or Bath or Wessex or any one of these places. The emperor of Ethiopia left the battlefield. How many of us have a copy of the documentary Epidemic that explains in reality, giving you some real eyes now to see the lies they've been telling us? Even some of our own literally void of the understanding of the key part that the emperor played on the battlefield when Mussolini and Italy attacked in 1935 going into 1936. I think it is well known. The emperor specifically on the front line of the war. That's the epidemic. For those of you, again, who have a epidemic, those who have seen a epidemic, and even those who don't even know what I'm talking about, a epidemic is the ancient lion-headed god from ancient, no, not Kemet, Kush. The lion-headed deity, the triple-headed god with the triple crown of Asa, and Isis Aset is seen as his wife. So again, a Epidemic, as we would have said in the documentary, a Epidemic is a lionized version of the god Asa, is a lionized version of the god Osiris, which is the resurrected one. So Osiris now, which is the Kemetic deity, and of course, you know, Osiris or Asa, again, is the figure that we have shown is similar to the reality of Haile Selassie. I think we all understand that the story of Asa or Osiris, the great green god, is highly symbolic, very allegorical, you know, mythological in nature. No one is running from that. I think some of us would say that, well, it's legend, meaning that Osiris the king maybe would have existed thousands upon thousands of years ago as a human being. And the stories that have been written of his, you know, of his valiant victories, etc., would have been, if you want to say, lionized to a high degree. That's how legends are made. We have done several programs on legends and myths, etc. I myself would have taken the time to do these programs personally, and I would have, you know, brought in other ones who have a different understanding of the concept of legend and fact and history, etc. That's why we created Rasta Roundtable. That's why we delve into these sort of discussions, so we can, you know, up the intelligence amongst ourselves straight up. Very good. So when it comes to legend, legend is not necessarily a lion. It is a very esoteric and allegorical way of reciting history. And I always like to use the example of the story of how the tiger's nest was founded for obvious reasons. And remember, I'm talking about the tiger's nest in Bhutan, not the tiger's nest on Radio Animal. The tiger's nest in Bhutan, hanging over the cliff on the side of the mountain, the monastery for the Buddhist monks. That was founded, the founder of the tiger's nest flew there on the back of a flying tiger. And that flying tiger was his spouse. That was his wife. Now, I mean, if you're going to take that literal, you could feed into that story several different ways, eh? Somebody may be saying, man, I don't believe no tiger can fly nowhere. Someone else may say, tiger can fly. Brother, didn't you hear what he said? He said the tiger was the man's woman. Oh, I missed that. So was the man a tiger? Brother, I don't know what he's saying, because obviously it starts to sound weird. queer. Doesn't make sense. Which flying tiger? And what you mean the tiger was his wife? What you're trying to tell me? It's symbolic. Now, it is not an allegorical story in the sense as if it's a myth or mythology. The Tiger's Nest Monastery is there. Someone built it. Historically, it was erected. But what I'm saying is that the story behind the building of it, again, has been lionized or tigerized in that case. You know, if you want to say it has been put on steroids then. So to explain how helpful and how important the monk's wife was to him, she was vicious, she was ferocious. No one could come in his way and touch him. She was a tigress to the point that he went there on her back. And the move was so successful and so smooth that they expressed it in the way as if he flew there on her back and established the tiger's lair, which became the tiger's nest. And you have many different, historical accounts from the ancient world, which has been put on a legendary level as such and brought to a next realm, but it doesn't mean that the story is not true. And this is why, for years we've been doing these sort of programs. And I always like to draw even for the biblical example of Jonah and the fish, which we can see explained in so many different ways. We shouldn't be still tug-of-warring over if this man was swallowed by, scale and fins. No. You see, let the religious get into that battle. And you can go and meet them there sometimes to show them, hey, listen, man, this is more than that. It's not even that at all. The story is symbolic of a greater meaning. Nobody was swallowed by a fish. That's why years after a Messiah came and said, man, just like Jonah was swallowed by a fish, that is why I shall go into the belly of the earth, the belly of the beast. That's the belly of the beast there. Someone suffered prison. That's the belly of the beast. Someone suffered detention and different levels of incarceration, the belly of the beast. Someone's go through just a terrible, horrible time in life, the belly of the beast. But when the Messiah goes through, such suffering, crucifixion, and oppression, that is the symbol of Jonah going into the belly of the fish. So even when Haile Selassie I went into quote-unquote exile, that's the belly of the fish. That's the belly of the beast. That's the bottom of the boat. That's the crucifixion. And we can prove that specifically as it relates to the 5th of May. To the 5th of May, 1936 to 1941. And as I always say, family, you understand the value of the 5th of May to the 5th of May when you comprehend what took place in between those two dates. Yes, we can look at the 5th of May, which is what? The 5th day of the 5th month, the number 5. He left Ethiopia on the 5th day, the 5th month. He came back and took the throne on the 5th day of the 5th month. He didn't return to Ethiopia on the 5th of May, 41. No, man, the king was there almost a year, back on the battlefield. When he left Ethiopia, he left from the battlefield. When he returned to Ethiopia, he went straight to the battlefield. I wonder if you understand. Look at the videos, watch the pictures. You see the king with the map and strategizing and all the other generals from the allied forces who came in, not just England, the allied forces came in to rout out Mussolini. Reality is geopolitics we're talking about, not make-believe. The king, chief strategist, behind the military board, running the chessboard, winning the war. So again, when you comprehend when the king appeared before the League of Nations, 1936, 30th of June, fulfillment of Joel, when he shall bring them down in the valley of decision, the valley of Jawasepha. The same thing in Zephaniah chapter 3, which again, to me, one of the clearest, if that's the right term, of prophecies. Wow, man. The Lord said, wait on me until I rise up to the prey, and I will gather all nations together, so I can pour out upon them my wrath and indignation. Zephaniah chapter 3. He says, I shall bring unto them a pure language, so that they can call upon the name of the Lord. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Now, I hear people try to interpret this many different ways and say the language is not from Ethiopia, it's beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. All sorts of things I'm hearing now. I mean, before we highlighted the scripture, I never hear nobody even talk about it. No offense to nobody. But now I'm hearing different interpretations and trying to not to even give you the interpretation. I hear people trying to denounce my interpretation. Funny thing, isn't it? Anyway. But now, of course, you just have to comprehend the sea. I hope everyone is blessed this evening. You just have to comprehend the sea. Let's not forget the eclipse. We're getting forward to everything here. This is a very complex discussion, yet simple. We need to comprehend the scene here. As I said, we're looking at many different things from the 5th of May. And the importance of the king addressing the League of Nations here. So the scene is war. I think we all understand that Ethiopia was attacked by Italy, who had, let's put it this way, Italy was making its own weapons. Italy had its own tanks. Italy had its own plane. Let's keep in mind, Europe stole the raw material from Africa to do all of this. We had no intention of making bombs and guns and these levels of weapons of mass destruction with our, plutonium and uranium and what else we have there, gold and cobalt. We didn't plan to kill nobody with that. The thieves that stole it went home and created weapons to kill people. That's what happened. Those that colonialized the land preferred to make weapons of mass destruction, gunpowder, tanks, and bombs. And when they invaded Africa and they found that the guns they made didn't work, they had to go back and make bigger guns. Do you know how many times some of these European countries had to go home and come back and 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 go home and come back? I'm talking history. Before they could defeat one tribe in one territory. But the history don't tell you all of that. The history just says, oh, the British defeated the Zulus, and it done there. How much time they go back? How many times the Zulus defeated the British? Reality. So we have to comprehend the time. That's what I'm saying. The time, the season. Ethiopia, the only African country not colonialized. Let's follow this. Haile Selassie, very shrewd and strategically putting Ethiopia, Abyssinia into the League of Nations since 1922-23. Let's follow this. So this is why when Italy attacked Ethiopia with all of this, is strengthened, illegal, still using illegal gas, mustard gas, illegal warfare, Mussolini using. When he had so many planes and tanks, Ethiopia didn't have none of these things. The fella had battleships on the sea. Ethiopia not even close to that. And they still couldn't defeat the Ethiopians. This is what I'm talking about. Don't make it sound like England and the rest of them came in and helped you. The Ethiopians warded off all of this heavy artillery for 5 years. With sticks, stones, barefooted warriors, lion mane, horses, and mules. Warded off tanks and planes and bombs and Gatling guns and aircraft carrier for 5 years. Give thanks for them ancestors there. These people we need to remember when we pour in libation. Yeah, them is real warriors there, Rastafari. I'm telling you. Because I think it's well understood that Italy never really fully had no big control over Ethiopia, you know. They maybe got a little town here and there in certain corners of Addis Ababa, but even there they had problems. I agree, you capture a city in a sense, you capture the town. Nobody arguing with you. But the reality is they didn't have no good grip on Ethiopia itself. The Ethiopian historians are who recount this to us. We're not romanticizing the thing. We're giving you the reality. So again, when Haile Selassie I spoke to the League, this is where you see Zephaniah 3. Shall gather them, pour unto them my wrath and indignation. That's what the king spoke. Where is the help that was promised to my people months ago? And remember, there was rules to be followed here. As I am a member of your League of Nations, that means that I supposed to get, assistance. And instead of giving the God assistance, they went and they voted about it and a heap of bangarang. But anyway, let's move on. So you understand. I think most of us have an idea of the Atlas figure carrying the universe, carrying the world, and literally carrying the world on his back. Because I always show family, yes, we can say that Haile Selassie was there defending not only Africa, but the free world, but he was even defending them that were corrupting the world. Because these killers would have killed themselves, you know. They were on their way to kill themselves. Mussolini and Hitler would have killed one another. Europe would have been no more. And of course, the world, maybe not the earth, but this world would have definitely gone up in flames. If Italy did conquer Ethiopia. Remember, Hitler and these fellas, is not Jews alone Hitler persecuted. They had concentration camp with the real Jews, black people, taking black people's skin and making boots. That is Adolf Hitler, taking black people's skin and making boots. That's not what they hate him for. They have other reasons. For them, they couldn't even care less. I'm sure some of you never ever even heard about that, but you know how much Jews they killed in the ovens. Yeah. Making boots with black people. So just imagine our state of existence at this time. You think it would be like it is today? Impossible. If Haile Selassie did not use his own discipline, because it was more than guns and bombs, it was discipline that won that war. That is why as Rastafari, especially when we understand what the emperor went through, he went in the Amenta. Remember, the emperor didn't have no money, you know. You have to understand all of this. When you watch the video, the footsteps of the emperor and the nanny talking about how the emperor's tears was running down when he was listening to the war. and she saw the tears dropping on his damaged hands where mustard gas would have damaged the emperor of old on the battlefield. So when you hear us say that the 5th of May to the 5th of May, 5 bleeding wounds, that's what it is. Now nobody put the King of Kings on no cross and nail him up. Not now what we're talking about. That's another allegorical expression of the history that will fulfill. Because remember that 5 bleeding wounds that Christ bore was for all humanity. Remember, out of World War II came League of Nations, United Nations, and the Organization of African Unity. And the Organization of African Unity, which is now AU, whether they corrupted or not, the principles of these organizations, international unity and African unity, that would have not been the word if Mussolini then would have won the war in Ethiopia. Trust me, this would not be the world you're living in. I'm sure about that. If the King of Kings didn't push back them bullies, I am sure about that. All you got to do is do the maths. Just take the king out the picture and make them win and see what would happen to the world. Who would come and save the world? John F. Kennedy? Family. I give thanks to Negus and Nagas from the 5th of May, again, 1936, to the 5th of May, again, 1941. The man bare 5 bleeding wounds. Osiris again. The same Osiris that was coronated by 72, just like Haile Selassie. The same Osiris that they chop into 14, some say 16 pieces, and I always highlight, it is Article 16 that speaks of the betrayal of the League of Nations as it relates to betraying Ethiopia when the time was there to assist. The 5th of May, key day, celebrate that. The heavens declare. Remember the 5th of May, the eclipse. And we've been speaking about heavenly events aligned with a lot of our celebration days for a while now. Give thanks, the heavens declare. It is by no mistake why the monarch council, or whoever they may be, chose to have the coronation of Mr. Charles III on the 6th of May, 2023. Now keep in mind, because you may say the 5th of May and the 6th of May are 2 different days. Well, depending on what side of the earth you're on. But still, yes, I agree. But when did the eclipse officially take place? The 5th of May, the eclipse of the moon. And as I said at the beginning of the program, hear me good, eh? As I said at the beginning of the program, those of us who did not see the eclipse because of our position, we observed a full moon rising on the night of the 5th of May that just came out of, let's say, the shower of an eclipse, the bathroom of an eclipse, just wiping off the eclipse with its towel. I hope that wasn't a bit too graphic for you, but we're talking about the moon. The moon, right? That's deep. It's not just the eclipse that's powerful, you know. The aftermath is where the power comes in now. When the sun eclipses, bam, The sun that coming after that, bam, coming with some celestial power. Not just solar flares or neutrinos or any of these things, but enough spiritual vibes, of which these things are spiritual as well. We already showed you when the previous monarch died, she was buried under the number 108. Same time that King Emmanuel would have been 108, you know. Family, listen, don't feel that way. I don't want nobody feel that way, right? Ones need to take time and study these videos that you see we put on YouTube. This ain't no Pee-wee playhouse. This ain't come and talk. We ain't talking about nobody and these loose business that us here people going into. This is serious, serious scholarship. That's why we don't even talk about challenging anyone and so right now. That's just waste of time. We have to just roll like John Henrik Clark. John Henrik Clark said he not debating nobody below he right now. I'm very serious. I'm very serious. If I'm going to deny what I said, I deny the Black Christ. If I go deny what I telling you because I don't want to sound like, I know more than anybody. I don't say nobody know more than nothing. I know what God has showed me. I know what Rastafari has showed me, and I'm telling you, family, ones need to take time and study some of them videos that you see we put down. Even this one tonight too. We not gone in yet. We not reached nowhere yet. We going in. So the video we did on 108 and Elizabeth's death, go and check that out if you didn't get it properly. Because sometimes you would watch it and wow, that was what 10 months after you say, what was it about? I can't remember really, but I know it was deep. That's not good enough. Go and revisit it. Know what it's about. Know exactly why she was buried under the number 108. You think they're playing? Pure Freemasonry taking place there. It's no mistake why Charles III was crowned king of that place on the 6th of May. I know I said that place, no disrespect to the land. The earth is the Lord. But their realms is something else. And you may say, come on, man, this is just your thought. No, man, you cannot separate Haile Selassie in reality with what is taking place in the British monarchy. The thing so deep. Even if you want to look at it just on a level of, family interaction then. Just like his mummy, Charles would have known Haile Selassie as a little boy. Just like his mummy would have known Haile Selassie as a little girl, coming and visiting her papi and grandpappy. Remember when Haile Selassie went to England in 1936? This was the year of the Three Kings. Another mystic for you. The year of the Three Kings. The year that England had three kings. Wow, how could that happen? Because kings change when people die, England had three kings in 1 year, and the year when the King of Kings came is when England flip out and have three kings. What, nobody want to be king? The King of Kings is here. Negus and Nagas. I'm not lying. I'm not making up the history. There was King George VI, King George V, and King Edward VIII. The three of them were king in that specific year, not in no order of reign. that I just mentioned them. I'm speaking of. They're not in order, but that's them. Father and two sons, brothers. Remember, Edward said he's going to marry I can't remember the woman's name, Simpson. Wallace Simpson. And because, you know, she was a double divorcee and I think she was an actress and she was from America and she wasn't royal blood. So, Edward, you got to come off the throne. You can't be hanky-panky, you know, or he gave it up or whatever. But he was already king when his father, George V, died. This thing run deep, you know. Remember Edward VII. And let's get into these names now. Let's get into these names. King Emmanuel Charles Edwards VII. Who don't want to believe it is a business, but by the time we're done tonight, you might have something else to say. Remember that Ras Mokenen, the god, father of Emperor Haile Selassie I, is the one that saved Edward VII's life, you know. Remember, Edward VII was dying, and Ras Mokenen went to England for his coronation. This is reality. You could read that in the Emperor's Autobiography and some other choice books. This is not no make-up thing. And Ras Mokenen went to the deathbed of Edward VII. Edward VII. And them fellas said, boy, it look like we could crown this man, you know. And Ras Mokenen said, yeah, you think so? And Ras Mokenen took the Ethiopian Orthodox cross that he brought for Edward VII, for his coronation, and went into the cathedral and said the prayer and left the cross there. And the emperor said, Haile Selassie, when he visited England, the Archbishop of Canterbury, I think it was, showed him the cross and said, your father, Ras Mokenen, brought this here when Edward VII was dying, and gave him the whole story. So that's not no legend. That's not no Rasta story. That is well known, but of course, they're going to hide that from you. So you cannot try to separate Haile Selassie and the Ethiopian monarchy with the judgment on the British monarchy. Follow me good, man. The eclipse on the 5th of May this year. Follow me good. As soon as the eclipse done, even before it done properly, they're ready to crown Charles. They don't play with them things. They know what they're doing. I explain again. The Queen of England was buried on the 108 when the sun was perfectly 108 times the distance from the earth as it relates to its diameter. Huh? Well, it's all right. Just watch the video, you'll get it clear. The sun was 108 suns away from the earth. Perfectly at that time. Perfectly. When they put her in the ground. Perfectly. Not the day before, not the day after. 108. How many of you saw the short documentary film, I Know the Ancient City? 108. This is what I'm saying, family. This is playtime is over. I don't care who offended and feel, oh, you don't have to say it like that. I have to say it how I have to say it. This is not the time for games. This is why I respect and give enough respect to those of you who would have even signed up and enrolled into the Ancient Astronomy course. And I have maximum respect to those of you who have enrolled your young ones in the International Homeschool Program. I don't know what kind of person can be seeking after consciousness, especially when they found a hub, I mean myself, that they can follow and tap into and say, yeah, Priest Isaac sound good on this video and that video. And we have a package here. Not no lecture, no long thing. A well put together package for our little children. And when I say our little children, I'm talking about yours. That they can quite palatable, easy to swallow, easy to understand. Nice, neat, well-timed classes, you know. Empress Naya was giving you a beautiful expression Sunday past on how the international homeschool program runs for little babies up to teenager. And I'm telling you, we as conscious people, conscious parents, most of us, we do not invest in our young minds' consciousness like how we invest in ourselves. And some of us, we don't really invest in ourselves, you know, in our consciousness. Some of us, we watch YouTube. That's not investment. When we invested in ourselves, we used to go to the bookstore every day, basically, definitely every week. And then cling, 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 pull out the money. That's how you invest in yourself. Go to lectures, invest in yourself. Yes, you can watch many lectures now. It's a different world. I'm not going to pretend as if the world hasn't changed. But don't confuse the age of information, as they call it, with the age of truth. You have the age of enough things around, enough information. He say A and he say B and he say C. And sometimes they all could be right depending on the angle you're looking, and sometimes they all could be wrong. But knowledge is precise. So you have to invest, man, in yourself. And if you believe in karma and believe in the law of you know, the law of effect and all of these different things, you would know that when you invest in yourself, it will return to you. Yeah, but so if you're dealing with knowledge and consciousness, you got to invest, man. You got to get up and go to the places that you like to talk about. Oh, that's investment. You know, you got to all these master teachers. Oh, this man and that man. A lot of this man and that man, they're still around. How many of you have tried to get the number of this man and that man to call them and say, well, this man and that man, I would like to come around you or bring you around me and pay them for that. That's investing, and bring them around your children, or carry your children to their studio, carry your children to their institute, carry your children to many of I and I have establishments, programs designed to rise the standard of our community. But most of us in this community, we're just like wading ducks. We just like to sit around and wait for the next debate and who have more knowledge, and I like this man over here and them fellas over here talking the real thing. Them is waste of time, man. We need to grow up. I'm serious. And trust me, I'm in the authority to say that. Nobody can tell me I can't say this. I've been here long enough. I've been around the solar system quite a number of times. Yeah, so I can talk now. Maybe I couldn't say this 10 years ago. I was waiting my turn, but I can say it now. Those of us who say we in this conscious community, we ain't ready yet. I ain't talking Rasta now. Rasta not ready neither, but conscious people, all of us. And I'm generalizing it. So nobody need to be offended. Just think of Malcolm X. He said when you throw a stone into a pack of dogs, the dog that says, ow, 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 is the dog that got hit. So anybody that bawling is because I just hit you. We wasting time. Have children and not feeding our children the consciousness that we get in. So what we supposed to do? So what next then? I thought we were building an empire. I thought we were building a community, or you're just playing around. No, I'm serious. I don't have nothing to take back. And I think I'm saying this because I know what I have to say next. The knowledge that's coming next that I know you're not going to hear nowhere else. How are we going to take it? Are we going to apply it to our life, or we're going to say, boy, that's some good rapping? Saying KRS-One, good rapping, enough respect to Chris One, yes. But this ain't good rapping. This, I get what you're saying, you know, I understand. Yes, we're spitting some razors here, but it's not entertainment. So if we really building a community and empire, you got to enrich the mind of your children. I'm telling you, I have little respect for anybody that have children and talking consciousness and not forcing the same consciousness in their head. Very little, very, very little. Very little, eh? Okay, straight up. There ain't no time to joke around. I'm sorry, but that's just me. You don't know me well, you know me now. In fact, let me do this here before we continue. Hey, give thanks for your presence with us. Hey, this is the Tiger's Nest right here on Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice. Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of ARCHAEOASTRONOMY from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information. And definitely, you know, family, if you would have taken note of, you know, what I was saying there, basically, the Ancient Astronomy course is available. It's ready for you. You can sign up now. You can enroll today. We will be bringing to you the ARCHAEOASTRONOMY course in short order. And then after that, we will be bringing you the astrotheology course, again in short order. So we're going to begin with the Ancient Astronomy course. Nobody tell me about, well, I'm going to wait until all the three of them. Not, you lie. You ain't going to wait until all those three. Get the, I'm sorry, but I know how it is, man. I've been, long time we in this game, eh? Oh, yes, my brother, you have the book. Very good. When you bring it on DVD, I will get it from you. Remember, you could get it for only $195 until the 21st of May. Until when? The 21st of May. Not next year, no. This year. Until the 21st of May, $195. And then you return to its original value, which is $275. But family, even if it was $375, $475, trust me, that is it's worth more than all of them figures I call in there. Those of you who were present at the launch, I know you would have seen that. I mean, even just the introduction, because what you are looking at there is the introduction to the course, you know, what you just observed. And some of you would have seen this a few times. That's the introduction to the course. You understand? And so if the introduction is so, let's say, enticing and graphic and clear, I think you could understand how the rest of the course is. But you could just go and visit the video on YouTube that's entitled, I think it's entitled Ancient Astronomy Launch, Homeschool Relaunch. Those of you who would not have seen it, I want you to go and visit it, and you will see for yourself the standard, the quality of this course. I can boldly say that there ain't no course that I've seen, because I've run through some of that in the realms of astronomy, that you can even equate to this. So give thanks, man. Enough respect to those who would have already supported, those who would have already basically supported themselves too, and would have already enrolled in the Ancient Astronomy course. Beautiful. All right. So now let's return to the battlefield. So what I'm saying, we never came off, eh? The reason why I highlighted the importance of the 5th of May is so that if you never really soaked that in, you can at least for this moment say, okay, I get that. And remember, we have, and this is important, I got to say this too. Remember, we have available the book entitled The Heavens Declare the Glory. We also have a new book, by the way, The Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy. That was also launched on Sunday. But listen to this. The Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy also comes with the course. Several things comes with the course. Remember, it's a month and a strong course, a 5-week course, as they call it. You'll get your quiz, everything, and you'll get your certificate from a certified archaeoastronomer. You understand what I'm saying? So the book, The Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy, is a book that comes with the course, but you could get the book by itself if for some strange reason you're not taking the course. Very good. Now, I know, family, sometimes I can't always come and be playing with this. The truth and salvation ain't no joke. We're friends, aren't we? How long me and you friends? We're friends long time. Yeah, if you, some of you very, 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 very frank with me, if you want to say, some of you very frank. Very frank. You tell me what you feel in comments and all kind of thing, don't you? You're right. So I tell you what I feel too. Because we're friends. Right. So we gotta show each other how this stuff goes. So yes, Ancient Astronomy, as I said, you can get the book without taking the course. But as I said, and I'll repeat it, for whatever reason, strange reason that would be, but the book comes with the course. But the book I was speaking of now is the book entitled The Heavens Declare the Glory, which is available now, right on the website. Those of you on the website, you could go right to our shop area and you will see the book, The Heavens Declare the Glory. That's a beautiful read. A lot of the things we talk about from time to time, if you study the book, we wouldn't even have to spend 2 minutes on that subject area. You see? That's the levels we're carrying this. It's an institute, family. Give thanks for those who are a part of it and respect it as an institute. Now, the coronation of Mr. Charles III, King Charles III, as I said, it was done basically in the shadows of an eclipse, and it was done basically in the shadows of the 5th of May. I showed you, do not underestimate the Ethiopian link with that British stuff. From Rasmussen keeping Edward VII alive and putting the cross in the church, to Haile Selassie visiting England at the time when they say he was in exile, and at the year of his visitation, England pop out 3 kings one time. Remember, this is the power and the might of the Holy Trinity. The first king to be crowned with the triple crown, Apedimek, the god of war, and England. Very key, because you see, you have to keep in mind that England ain't no regular thing, you know, amongst the European countries. That's why they're Anglo-Saxons. They consider themselves the sons of Isaac. They say that they have the stone of Jacob under their throne. I'm sure some of you hear that. That's why the flag is called the Union Jack, Jacob. So they are claiming some level of descendancy from not just Israel, but from Jacob and from Isaac, and they're saying they're the real Jews, really. Okay, good. So all of that is mixed up into it, if you didn't know. So Mr. Charles now, again, when he was coronated, at that time, there was a mighty meteor shower taking place in the heavens. In fact, before we go into meteor shower, let me get this straight. Now, first of all, the coronation of Mr. Charles III is pure Freemasonry. I mean, almost everything that happens in this kind of atmosphere has to do with rituals and rites, everything, the way they sit down, the way they put their feet, the way they lift their hands, everything just has to do with a specific protocol. Who comes first, who comes second. Those of you who are watching it on television, the actual coronation, and you see how the clergy and the bishops and all of these people move around like it's a dance, like a waltz, all well plotted and maybe rehearsed. But what was interesting in this coronation, you would notice they had different faith leaders there. How many of you picked that up? Muslim and Sikh, Hindu and Buddhist, Christians, of course. And they all paid allegiance to Mr. Charles. All the different religions. I was saying, I wonder what Allah think about that. I was saying, but wait, so Muhammad and them people dread, eh? You know, bow down to nobody, like how I see the Muslim, the representative of all the Muslims in London bow down to Mr. Charles. I said, wow. And for those who do not know, interesting, you know, it was the Antiguan delegation that led the Commonwealth countries in that procession too, with the Antiguan flag carried by the independent senator of the upper house here in Antigua. They were in front, Antigua, and it might just be because of their alphabetical position. I'm not saying that is not too grand, but then still everything have a reason and a symbolic expression. But anyway, so while they were placing the crown on his head, and I'm sure you know it was 2 crowns, eh? Before we get to the crowns, let's speak about the order of the Garter first, so you understand. Now, most of you would have heard us reason. Of course, there's this video that we would have done. I think it's called Haile Selassie. No, is Haile Selassie a Mason? think that's the name of the video. I would encourage all of you to watch the video if you haven't seen the video. I get a lot of fire for that video when I brought that out. That was about 4 years ago. Just because of the question, it was a question. Man get vexed with I for that. Just to show you how low thinking we are. A question. Look, Haile Selassie dressed in the garbs of the Knight of the Garter. Considered, one of the oldest order of chivalry. The Knights of the Garter is a continuation of the Knights of the Temples of Solomon with their red cross, the Rosicrucian, all of that, the same thing. Considered to be the cross of St. George, the same thing. And Haile Selassie is a member of the Knights of the Garter. Let me try to cut this one short here. Again, when you visit our website and you go in our shop region, we have a webinar that we did. Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. Again, we have on YouTube, we have a video that we did, an episode entitled, Is Haile Selassie a Mason? It's a very good watch. You should watch it. But the video, the webinar that we did, that's about 3 years ago we did that webinar, is, I would consider it a few levels up from the video we have on YouTube. And those who were even present at that webinar would remember. You may not have a copy of it, although I think we gave everyone that came to that webinar a copy of it. Maybe, maybe not, because we do that from time to time. When we have a webinar, and you pay and you come, we tend to just give you the video for your own possession. But we don't really put those videos on YouTube and these different places. So for those of you who'd like to sit in and watch that one, that's a very good watch. As I said, if you're serious about scholarship, you would go and check the shop. It's Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. I think them videos is only about $15 or $20, the webinar. And that gives you a good understanding of the concept of Masonry, first of all, because you need to start from there. I don't want to try to go into it here. That's why I'm sending you there, for those who are serious about this knowledge. That's why I'm sending you there, so you could even pause or however you're running this replay, or well, if it's live, you can't pause nothing here. But just to show you how serious it is, that you go and you gather the information, and then you have a better understanding of even where we're going. But I'll give you a quick rundown of it. In that webinar, what I did, I showed how nature itself mirrors itself, which is what Freemason really is. Nature mirrors itself. The universe mirrors itself. So you look at a galaxy and you look at the hurricane. They look like each other, just one very big and one very small in comparison to each other. You look at the golden spiral. You look at the spider's web. You look at the horn of the ram. You look at the conch shell. All of these different things, the Fibonacci series of numbers, as they call it, the same golden spiral, the petals on the flower, the pine cone. You look at all of these things and you are observing nature mirroring itself. Now, that's very simple. You look at the Milky Way, you look at the River Nile, nature mirroring itself. It does it all the time. Now, civilized man and woman in their intelligence built monuments to mirror nature. That's why you get like the pyramids now. So the pyramids now, you see the 3 pyramids, they mirror Orion's belt. You see the pyramids in the pyramid of the sun and the moon in South America, they mirror Orion's belt as well. And we would have created monuments. That's where archaeoastronomy comes in. We would have created monuments out of stone, buildings, temples, pyramids, and other things, stone circles, to mirror, to, if you want to say mimic, to align with the movements of the astronomical clock and the heavens. That's the first sign of quote unquote Freemasonry, and that wasn't created by the people you call Freemasons. They were Masonic in the sense that they were building things out of stones. That's why Christ in the Bible is called a carpenter, a master builder, because it is the master builder, the great architect, that is considered the God of Freemasonry. So when Freemasonry was invented, and some people consider Masonry and Freemasonry to be different, but whatever date and time you give to it, wherever, some have it even in the US, some have it in Europe. So when it comes to the Knights of the Temple of Solomon and Charles the Ball, not Charles the Ball, pardon me. Oh, what was the fella name? Jacques de Molay, that they burnt at the stake. All Charles the Ball, them is chief Freemasons. Charles the Ball, who the sculptor at the Cartwrights Cathedral there in France. He's the one that put the gritty in Melchizedek's cutchy, the Holy Grail. We did that program on YouTube maybe about 3 months ago. All of these programs, family, especially those of you who are new. This is not the entertainment club. Don't subscribe to the YouTube channel and just sit down and wait for the newest video. Go back. Go back. Trust me. Trust me. If you don't hear from us for a month, for 3 months, for 5 months, you have enough to study. Some videos that some of you have seen already, go and study them again. You're going to enrich yourself. What about the video we did about who's the oldest person in the Bible? And we proved that it wasn't Methuselah. Where else in the world anybody telling you Methuselah is not the oldest person in the Bible? And I do not mean Enoch. Phineas is the oldest person in the Bible. I mean, even when I Google that, I don't even find nobody talking about it. I said, but wait, so it's not even a discussion. And we've done, I think it's 2 videos I did on that. Phineas being the oldest person in the Bible, and I prove it with the Bible. Yeah. You see, it's not what is said, you know, but it's who said. Now, if TD Jakes or somebody come out and say, oh, headline news. And I'm not saying that because as if they, sometimes it's us. Again, it's us. Us. How many of you share this, what you're listening to right now? How many of you have shared it so far? It's us. It's us. We don't know that this is war. So the teacher, the preacher, or presizer come and say a thing and two, and we just sit back and listen. We're supposed to take the message now and make sure at least 100 other people hear it. Some of us, we live on Instagram and Facebook. You're supposed to take this message, however you get it there, share it, not just press the button and press the thumbs up and all of that. That's okay, and that's the least a person can do, and not even that. Some people would do. Share it, not press button, share it, take it, and find a way to get other people to hear it. If it is that important of a message. Just bear with the Tiger family. It's a lengthy one tonight. Or you want me to stop? It's a lengthy one. Yeah, I'm in the mood to talk. Get it out and express to us the truth. The King of Kings, Haile Selassie I, is a member of the Order of the Garter. The most noble order of the Garter, it is called, is an order of chivalry. Are you with me, family? Founded by Edward III of England in 1348. Founded by who? Edward III in 1348. It is the most, I want you to hear this good, it is the most senior order of knighthood in the British honor system. So nothing higher than the Knights of the Order of the Garter. Haile Selassie was bestowed with the title of the Knight, I think in 1953-54, somewhere thereabouts. but he never attended the ceremony until the 1970s, just before he disappeared, you know, like one of the last hoorah that the king had. You know what I mean? The king said, listen, man, I leave in here soon. Let me just go and shake a leg with, you know what I mean, them people there. Yeah. I wonder if you follow me. The Night of the Garter was created by one called Edward III. Many in the conscious community consider that Edward III is a black man. I'm not mocking nobody, but a lot of us, I know we try to make everybody black, you know what I mean? Hey, you may know something I don't know. Now, yes, it's easy to look at some of these portraits and say, but hey, look, the man black. People say King James was black, and other figures that most of us never considered them to be African in any way. And of course, we would have done webinars again on a lot of characters that we know are African people. Look, they tried to make Hannibal look like somebody else. You know, Beethoven and these ones are, you know, are people of African descent. And we know of Queen Charlotte and you know, Saint Maurice, and we can go on, even down to some of the Greek gods. We can go on and on. We've been doing these programs. So Edward III, who founded the Knight of the Garters in 1348. Edward III, you should be writing these things down. And Edward III was considered to be a black man. Now here it is. Here it is. His son, Edward the Black Prince. What his son name? Edward the Black Prince. A joke you make. His son, Edward the Black Prince, was the head of the Knight of the Garter. Now, this is important because the person that found the head or founded, the founder of the head, the founder of the Knights of the Garter, which was the King of England, and he said he was the King of France too. That's Edward III. He claimed that. And people mistaken it. His mother killed his father with her lover, Mortimer, to take over the throne. And he, Edward III, come back and kill Mortimer and claim himself the King of France because his mother is from France. That's some British mad history for you there. Now, I'm just showing you that Edward III, although he founded this order of chivalry, you know what a garter is, by the way? That's the next thing altogether by itself, you know. But it was his son, the Prince of Wales. Now, the Prince of Wales is the head of the Knight of the Garter. You understand? The Prince of Wales, not the Queen, not the King. The head of the Knight of the Garter is the Prince of Wales. Now, the Prince of Wales is not the King, not the Queen, so obviously they're still under a level. But the position of the ruler of this organization, pardon me, has been reserved for whoever the Prince of Wales is. So when the Knight of the Garter was established by Edward III, his son, Edward the Black Prince, what was so black about him? He was the Prince of Wales and he was the head of the Knight of the Garter. So the Knight of the Garter was founded by Edward III and Edward the Black Prince. The Black Prince. Prince Edward. The black one. He founded. I'm laughing, but it's not funny, you know. He founded. Now don't try to read into nothing I say, you know. You're the one that picking it up. I never said nothing. I'm just showing you Edward, the Prince Edward, the Black Prince, founded the Knight of the Garter. That's what history say. You can do whatever you want with it, but that's what history. Who founded the Knight of the Black, the Garter, Knight of the Black Tiger? The Garter. It was Prince Edward. Woo, the Black Prince. Oh, Black Prince Edward, he's the first head. And his daddy, Edward the Third. Good. Now, King Charles, formerly Prince Charles, was the former Prince of Wales. So Prince Charles, now King Charles, was the head of the Knight of the Garter for a very, very, very long time. You see, like how his mummy is said to be the ruler of England for a very, very long time, almost the same length of time. He was the Prince of Wales. Remember, he's 74 or something like that now, you know. All right, the oldest. He's the oldest. Don't miss none of these things. He's the oldest King of England, King ever crowned. So him and Mr. Biden, like they're running competition now for the oldest. Biden running again, eh? All right. The oldest against I guess the richest, I don't know. So this is serious, family. Of course, we would have covered this, what I'm going to go into now. When Haile Selassie visited the Night of the Garter ceremony, which they have every year, a big spectacle, everybody comes out and watches this. Haile Selassie I, again, in the late 70s or in the 70s, would have come to this event here, where they march into Windsor Castle. You see all the guards, the knights, I should say, and the guards. You see the beefeaters and some of the other soldiers marching in their processional formation, and of course in order, going into Windsor's castle. And you know, the knights will all march in, and they will come out as well, and whatever happens in the castle, I mean, I don't know if cameras have ever been in there, but something happens in the castle. So when the emperor visited, I personally just noticed that it's interesting that, you know, King Charles, which is Prince Charles at the time, himself and his late grandmummy, the Queen's mother, Elizabeth, not Elizabeth II now that just passed on, but this is another Elizabeth. This is Elizabeth that just died, her mother. Right, you understand that? She is the wife of George VI. Good. But George VI, he died in the 50s, that is why Elizabeth II became queen. So while Elizabeth II was queen, there was still an ex-queen Elizabeth, you know, the queen's mother. You understand that? Good. Now, so Elizabeth, the queen's mother, and Mr. Prince Charles at the time, they were the ones that usually lead. They are the ones that are at the head of the procession of the Knights of the Garter. Even Elizabeth the Queen and Philip the Prince, her husband. It's a mix-up scene, eh? The Queen and her Prince husband. They, although the Queen run the country basically, ceremonially, she would still be behind. All of this is ceremony, by the way. She would be behind of the procession as it relates to the head of the Knight of the Garter, which is the Prince of Wales. So the Prince of Wales, the way they constructed, basically leading the parade with the Queen's mother. In fact, after the Queen's mother's death, the same Prince of Wales, as a big man now, if you want to call it that, would have had Camilla with him at his side here. All right. Now, before the days of Camilla, well, to be honest, I don't even know what these fellas were doing even back in those days. Because according to the tabloids, he's been ramping with Camilla for a long time. All right, even in the days of Diana, can you imagine that? But anyway, we don't want to talk no gossip here. Let's stick to the subject. So, again, we would have highlighted this already. at this visitation, just plain, the space that the emperor would have occupied here would be the space that Charles would occupy. It's a real mystic kind of chessboard. In fact, from my research, because I would have looked into it, so Charles would have basically been next to his mummy, his grandmummy, really, like to her right. But they basically would be at the head of the parade, going into Windsor and coming out. But at the visitation of the emperor, Charles was not in the actual parade. Charles was on the side of the parade. He was at military school at the time, and he came home for the parade, or he came for the parade, basically because, you know, he's the head of the Knights of Garter, so he got to be there. But with the presence of Haile Selassie now, very ancient, in his 80s now, this is not the same time when he visited the emperor during the England during the war, when he was in his 40s. Now he's in his 80s. Yes. 1970s. Very good. And he's coming to this session for the first and only time. And while he is there, he is taking up the position that, you know, the head of this whole thing would usually take up. That's very symbolic. Now, I don't know how many others would have gotten that treatment. I'm not going to act as if I know it all, but I know who Haile Selassie is. And I've seen enough to know that anywhere the king goes, he gets the highest seat, even when he is amongst other heads of state. For what other kings, other so-called emperors, he is still at the highest seat. We have enough proof on that. People like to talk about where's your source. Well, I mean, we can go for source upon source. Pictures. You take a picture, you take the picture when the emperor is coming out of Windsor Castle, and you see Prince Charles on the side for the whole session while the emperor is in his place. If the emperor wasn't there, he would be in his place, but the emperor is there, so he's on his side. And he's the head. It's not just a case of, okay, somebody has to make space for the emperor. No, the head of the Knights of the Garter come out of the line and make the granddaddy come in. We even highlight how important it is, you know, the presence of the emperor, that when you watch the video, remember it's dozens of knights in, all of them have a similar hat with the tall feather, of which the emperor's feather was the tallest. It was even taller than Prince Charles' feather. Watch everything, it's masonry. People like to say, well, Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie was a member of the Mason fraternity. You can't disprove this. As if we supposed to lose our sanity because they say that. But right, you don't have to be upset with us. We've been telling Rasses for a long time, Haile Selassie was a member of the Knights of the Garter. Boy, Selassie ain't no Freemason. Listen, boss, I'm just telling you, you don't have to get emotional. You can try to figure out, because I don't mean that to mean, I've already figured out what's going on here. Greater than Solomon is here. You understand? This ain't no head of no Mason business. This is the great architect. This is the being that the Masons worship. This is the being that the Hindus worship. That's Brahma there. Yeah, that's the same Brahma that the Buddhists, that's the same Brahma that the Hindus worship. That's the same Christ, the same Elohim, the same Allah. Haile Selassie we talking about. So Charles had to move to the side. The same Charles that was crowned yesterday or day before or whenever. That same Charles. I want you to follow me good. The same Charles that chose to get coronated the day after the 5th of May. The same Charles. Remember, Haile Selassie left England, you know, to go and conquer Mussolini. He didn't leave Panama, didn't leave Venezuela, he didn't leave Antarctica. He left England and returned to Africa to conquer the beast. These fellas know who the real conqueror is, not William the Conqueror. They know who the real St. George that slew the dragon is, Haile Selassie. So Mr. Charles ain't fooling nobody, nor the council of the Crown Council, when they chose to have the coronation on the 6th of May. And the astrologers know what's going on too, because they chose to have their coronation right after the eclipse of the moon. They chose to have their constellation at the same time of a meteor shower, what is known as the Eta Aquarius meteor shower that was taking place on the 6th of May. And just as the constellation or the name suggests, it took place in the constellation of Aquarius. So just observe the pictures, because masonry is no joke. Position is very important. You can't go on the left when you're supposed to be on the right. You can't be on the blue chair when you're supposed to be on the red chair. You can't stand up in the white square when you're supposed to be standing up in the black square. That's how they set it. So you just observe it. The presence of Emperor Haile Selassie to their Masonic affair showed who really is in charge here. Keep in mind that the Prince of Wales is the head of this order of chivalry. But when the King of Kings comes, just like everybody else, he have to move aside. Nobody could even put on their hat until the king put on his hat. Quite telling. So again, you can't separate what's going on at Mr. Charles's coronation from Negus and Nagas. Remember, you know, this is the lingering monarch on the planet. I think they have a few kings and so around here and there, but King of Jordan, they as if they don't even exist. You have to keep in mind, oh, family, the book of Daniel, when he said, I observe until all the thrones were cast down. And he speak about the beast being prolonged for a little while. This is the beast here. All the thrones were cast down. Family, we've done programs on this. You just check how many kings and queens and emperors were in the world when Haile Selassie, just before Haile Selassie became regent of Ethiopia. There were so many emperors. Even when he was regent, and you see he visited all over Europe, it was kings and queens that the emperor visited. At the end of World War I and World War II put together, at least 90% of the monarchs of England were no more. I don't mean the people, I mean the offices. The book of Daniel says that I beheld until all the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. Come on, man. This is reality. That's Bible talking, you know. All the thrones cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. Haile Selassie, we know that's the Ancient of Days. The culture he represents, not just him being an elder with the gray hair. The culture he represents is the Ancient of Days culture. Well, all the thrones weren't cast down. England still was a king and a queen and all of that. But I just explained. Daniel says, but I beheld the beast was prolonged for a little while. This is the beast prolonging. All what you were watching on Saturday is the beast prolonging. Yeah. You cannot separate Haile Selassie from all of what's taking place, even at this time. Now, as I said, it's two crowns that these people wear. Not all of them really. Some of them chose to do it a different way. Now, for those of you who are watching, again, while all the meteor were flying through the sky after the full moon, the 6th of May, Charles, former head of the Knights of the Garter, you're following the story now, former head of the Knights of the Garter. The Knights of the Garter was founded by who again? Edward III. And who was the first head of the Knight of the Garter again? That Prince Charles, was sitting in his seat? Edward the Black Prince. Who? The Prince Edward the Black Prince. Okay, good. Saint Edward's crown is the crown used at the moment of coronation. It was made for Charles II. Let me see. So Saint Edward's crown was made for Charles II. Edward's crown was made for Charles II. Tell you what. The Black Prince. Edwards and Charles. You see? And listen, before I continue to read, this ain't no joke again, you know. Do not take Prince Emmanuel simple. You think Prince Emmanuel is a comedian? How many of you were watching the coronation when they put the glove, the white glove, on Prince Charles' right, King Charles' right hand, and have him holding scepters? One glove they put on his hand, one to the other hand. When King Emmanuel put on the black glove and shake the emperor hand, enough people say this and that. And what did King Emmanuel tell us? I've hardly heard another explanation beside King Emmanuel saying to the family that it was a diplomatic gesture. The black glove, symbolic of a diplomatic gesture. I never hear no more explanation, nothing deeper. Just that's it. When they crowned Mr. Charles III, they put a white glove on his hand. And like going into battle, and this glove stamping the enemy. I can't remember everything. And he stood up with the crown of St. Edward's. That's not the crown that they wear afterwards, They take off Edward's crown and then put on the regular crown. I think that's the crown of St. George or one of them fellows there. It was made for Charles II in 1661 as a replacement for the medieval crown, which had been melted down in 1649. The original was thought to be dated back to the 11th century royal saint. Is a royal saint there? Edward the Confessor, the last Anglo-Saxon king. See how the crown having how much sapphire and garnet and topaz and diamonds and all of these different things stolen from the motherland. Yeah. So it's just quite interesting. That's all I'm saying. That we have reached to the point, because King Emmanuel said, Victoria was the first and Elizabeth is the last. That's what he said in the Black Supremacy. And we just say, what that mean? Because Victoria wasn't really the first. So she has to be the first something. And Elizabeth is the last. King Emmanuel said these things long time ago. And look how Elizabeth come and just edge out Victoria as it relates to the reign of a monarch. Two women. You think this is a joke? And after her rule now, it's almost like the astronomical clock aligning, where Edward's crown is on Charles' head. What did Elizabeth say in 1966 when she went to Jamaica? She said that there is a man in this land that no one is to molest. For in time to come, that man will be Lord over her laws. Now, I personally, I'm not playing with words. I'm not playing with numbers. I'm not playing with semantics. Me personally, Honorable Priest Kidevi Shalom Isaac, I humbly would say, in all honesty, that by now, I think I have a good understanding of how the Most High speaks to people. Different ways. A lot of us, we overlook these things. But the Most High or the Almighty, or if you want to say the universe, speaks to us every day. In numbers, colors, sounds. Every minute God talking to you, you know. But many of us, we are not, we are not, we're not in tune. Some of us, we don't even want to be in tune. Sometimes a next person has to come and show you, hey, but look over there on that truck. What? Look, the same thing you just tell me. Oh, yes, it's true. That's how God talks to you. But look the number there. Yes, and look it over there. Yes, and look, that man have the same number on his shirt. Boy, that mystic. You see, that's how God talks to you. So that means what you were telling me is correct. It's true. Because like in the Caribbean, we have a thing where they say, the old people would say, you see me not lie? Because they would say something and it just happened. You know, whatever they say, and the person appear. Looky there. See me tell you? Look him there. Oh yeah. You see in that line? Or you see me not lie? Yeah. Mystics, family. So, there's a man. This is what Elizabeth say, in this land that nobody supposed to molest, for the time going to come when he shall be Lord over my laws. Now listen, if you just, this is not religion, if you just watch how the world running, what you hear, even all the heads of state that went to go and visit him and say they're swearing allegiance, they're still coming back around them place saying, well, we're gonna have to have a referendum and going to say we need to drop the monarchy. The winds of change, Rasta. Don't get me wrong, you know, the judgment of Pharaoh is swifter than changing constitution and them things, you know. But that's just a step in the right earthly direction. But the judgment of Pharaoh is swifter than them things there. Nah, man, if you have to wait on that, you're going to wait forever. And reparation and all them things there. The judgment of Pharaoh, you hear me, Rasta, is swift. Because if we go into London to hear Mr. Charles say he's sorry, he gonna quicker tell you he didn't do nothing. Now, hear this now. Where was the meteor shower? Hold on, we ain't done. Don't go nowhere. Where was the meteor shower taking place? When they put Edward crown on Charles' head. Huh? When last that happened? The first time they used this crown, Edward's crown, it was on Charles' head. Charles II. It has come full circle. Edward's crown is now on Charles' head again, Charles III. So, while they were placing Edward's crown on Charles' head, meteor showers were flying through the Aquarius constellation. What is the importance or the significance of the Aquarius constellation. In this instance, well, the Aquarius constellation happy is the water carrier, the water bearer. And we know that there's a prophecy where Christ told his disciples that when they see the person with the water pitcher walking through the city streets and going into the house, follow him, which the house is the meaning. House is symbolic of zodiac. House is not really, you know what I mean, a roof and doors and the kitchen and the bathroom. House is a deeper term. That's why you have the House of Windsor and the House of Lords and the House of Parliament. And when you go to school, you have greenhouse and blue house. None of these things are made with wood and these are not literally houses. Symbolic. The zodiac belt, the zodiac horoscopes, they are houses. The constellation, they are houses. That's why in the book of Enoch talks about the sun going through the different gates and the houses. Now, for those of you who study astrology and your horoscope, you would know that the Aquarius sign begins somewhere around 21st to the 23rd of January. Now, this is very key here. When they put the crown, when they put Edward's crown on Charles' head, St. Edward's crown on Charles' head, Charles III, not Charles II. It was Charles II that got it, now it's Charles III. Good. When they put it on his head, they refer to him as the defender of the faith. In fact, I think it's the glove part where they call him the defender of the faith. Even the Archbishop, he turned it back and said he praying to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I say, who are you talking about? Oh, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, please help Prince Charles. I say, which King of Kings? Who are you talking to? Prince Charles must be saying, I know who the real King of Kings and Lord of Lords is. I met him. He took my place in the parade of the night of the Garter. If you walk in the church now, I got to get up from this chair. You know that. You knew that. If his dead mother walk in, he can say, but mom, it's my turn. You had your chance. If the real King of Kings walk in, they get up and move. And I'm not being facetious. I'm being realistic here. So I'm saying when they called him the defender of the faith, remember again for those who, you know, keep up with the lessons. Haile Selassie was crowned defender of the faith in 1965. And that's the year before he went to Jamaica to go and defend the faith, by the way. All right. Do you remember when he was given the title of Defender of the Faith? He was given it on the 21st day of December, January. Let me get it straight. Yes. And he accepted it on the 23rd day of January. And in the Pisces age horoscope, that's when the sign of Aquarius begins. Now remember the Pisces man, the Christ tell you, how you would recognize the next Christ is that the man with the water pitcher. So the next Christ is the Aquarius man, the man with the water pitcher. And I'm showing you when the sun was connecting to the water pitcher, again for astrologers, because any astrologer are going to tell you the sun is aligned with Aquarius on the 23rd of January. So let's work with that. So I'm showing you that when the sun was aligned with Aquarius, the water pitcher man, that's when the king got the title Defender of the Faith. The king got the title Defender of the Faith under the sign of Aquarius. That's facts. They call Mr. Charles now, the third, the Defender of the Faith, when the meteor shower was going through the Aquarius constellation on the 6th of May. Go and check your astronomy. the meteor shower came to its peak in the Aquarius constellation on the 6th of May, right after the eclipse, when they were putting Edward's crown on Charles' head and say he's defender of the faith, when the real defender of the faith is the real King of Kings, who was given the title of defender of the faith under the same constellation, Aquarius, where the meteor shower was passing through. This is ripe Freemasonry ready to jump off the tree. But we would just watch it and miss it. And not just Freemasonry, but celestial Freemasonry, cosmic Freemasonry. And again, you cannot separate the mystics of our Negus Nagas, the mystic of our King of Kings, with the events that took place on the 6th of May. This is Rastafari family, most powerful ever living, not to be played with Negus and Nagas, not to be played with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Family, I remind you again, the Ancient Astronomy Course. Remember that until the 21st of May, which is the day that we will send out our first class, you can get this mighty course for only $195. Again, those of you who were with us for our launch, you would have seen and witnessed for yourself that the value of this course is beyond that. In fact, you still have an opportunity to go and watch that event, which was the open house Education is the Key event that we had a few Sundays ago. It's on the YouTube and you can go and visit it and watch it for yourself. And again, family, if you desire to enroll again before the 21st, you will get it for $195, and after the 21st, it will return to its regular price, which is a wonderful price as well, only $275. So contact us, family. If you missed the open house, go and watch the video for yourself and make your young ones watch it as well. And enroll the young ones, family, in the International Homeschool Program. It can only add to them and bring them to a higher level. Beautiful. Yes, family, you don't know we are very thankful for the life giver and the keeper of life. And I think for sure this evening again, I think this was a case where it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. And I still will say, you know, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, yeah, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. Give thanks for your presence, Black Christ in flesh, Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of ARCHAEOASTRONOMY from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its maker has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information.